Hi, I'm Anthony O'Flynn. I'm here to assist you in transforming your inner landscape and support you on your journey of awakening. The joy of living is a critical topic for the paradigm shift, and it's a topic that is something that we all need to connect to experience this inner transformation. Now, at the moment, there's a lot of people going through various challenges which are ongoing. There doesn't seem any short-term solution to many of these personal challenges that many people are experiencing, and yet on the background, the good news is there's a lot of support, because the subtle energy that we're now being bathed in is very supportive for the activation of the upper chakras, particularly the heart chakra, which is the sphere of domain, the sphere of consciousness for this experience of joy. Now, this idea of joy is something that many people are perhaps struggling to connect to, but it's now in the background. Many people are now reporting, oh, this is in the background. That's something that they can understand, that there is this connection to something that's perhaps related to the concept of bliss. It's more than just a kind of superficial happiness, kind of Friday afternoon or something like this sort of happiness. It's an ongoing state. Now, our challenge is to bring what's going on in the background into the foreground. And by that, our goal is to change our focus, what we're actually trying to connect to, by pushing this into the forefront of our attention. Because if we're just focusing on all the problems that we're experiencing personally or the collective at a planetary level, then that's what will define our experience. And yet there's this subtle support, this subtle energetic integration that's available to us, that it's becoming stronger, that we can manifest. Now, what we're doing collectively as humans is we're actually, a lot of the positive psychology movement and the personal development movement is actually looking for something that creates this joy externally. And by that, I'm referring to something that is perhaps a new house, a job promotion, a new car, a new relationship, whatever it is, but it's all externally based. Now, when we actually connect to this state of joy at a deeper level, we're able to connect with this spring, with this well, with this inner awakening that gives us this joy spontaneously, without reason. And in many ways, it's like we're putting the cart before the horse, because we're simply looking to this kind of, I'll be happy when I achieve this, I'll be happy when I experience that. And we're trying to connect to joy from an external perspective. Now, when we wind back the expectations that we have in our daily life, in our short-term, our long-term goals, it hones us into the present moment, which I'm going to be reiterating again and again in these videos, because this is the vehicle to experience joy as to what's actually showing up in our life, without being so dependent upon these peak experiences, these peak external experiences. So by that, I'm referring to the simplicity as the feeling of the sun on our face, or the sound of the waves crashing on the shore, or watching the people around us in a state of happiness, in laughter, or enjoying a good meal. These simple things. But if we're not present, available to experience the present moment, then we're missing out on these things, and in essence, we're missing out on the joy of life itself. So there's nothing wrong with using these external states as a support to experience more joy. But it goes deeper when we have this happiness that's for no particular reason. And then we are then bringing joy into our life spontaneously. Rather than looking for external stimuli to create the joy, we have the joy that brings happiness into all of these so-called mundane moments of living. And by being present, we're able to experience these on a continual daily basis. It's the same understanding as yoga, when we know that there's this body language and the body is reflecting my state, whether I'm in a dynamic state, a peaceful state, happy state, whatever it is. And we're using the opposite in the practice of yoga. We're using the body to create the states of consciousness, to create the positive emotions and so on. Well, we can look at this the same as being true for this joy. So when we connect with the heart chakra, which is being activated now at a deeper level, that we're getting this support from the universe, that doesn't mean to say we don't need to make our own efforts, but we're getting this support now because this is part of the paradigm shift. And one of the fundamental aspects really is to connect with this consciousness, this sphere of consciousness of the heart, of Anahata chakra, and joy being a key element of this way of being, of this way of living. So when we think about these states, then try to be open to receive this energy, to connect with these subtle waves of energy, and then allow this joy to bring it spontaneously without thinking about it, because it's critical for our own evolution. This is really a defining aspect of the paradigm shift. It's a defining aspect of the planetary shift in consciousness. And so much of the personal development that we see today is really focused on being more, of achieving more, of earning more, of having more, and it's always projecting something into the future. And it means that this idea of happiness is achieved only at the top of the mountain, only when we get to the peak of the journey. Well, I would suggest by integrating this joy into our daily life, we get to enjoy each and every step of the journey. The journey itself becomes a source of joy. Even the struggle, the character building resilience that we get from embracing on big tasks, we can embrace this with a more light-hearted perspective rather than struggling against the universe and all this opposition, which we kind of tend to embody in our consciousness, this natural negativity of the brain. We get to integrate our way through life and navigate our journey with much more harmony, with much more fulfillment, because we're actually enjoying the process. And in this way, we're actually enjoying living, because much of the personal development industry today is really focusing on actually postponing living, like living something when I get the yacht, when I buy the island, when I get the Ferrari or whatever it is, all these external things. Whereas the joy is in the simplicity, it's in the connection, it's in each and every moment, it's there to be experienced in each and every breath. If we're showing up for it, in essence, if we're actually showing up for our own life. And this Sufi saying that within your house dwells the treasure of joy, so why do you go begging from door to door? It really sums up this analogy that instead of being externally focused for our fulfillment, for our happiness, for our contentment, simply connecting with this inner fountain that is within, because that's where the true treasure is. That's where the gift is. And the gift, it keeps on giving because it has this ability to sustain itself. It's like an amplification, like a cycle of joy, of appreciation, of gratitude, feeds back into itself. It doesn't need a really concrete external reason, a validation, if you like to think of it like this, to experience this state of joy. This, in essence, is our natural way of being. And really, the big transformation, much of it on this planet, is to actually return to our natural way of living, our natural way of being, which we've lost contact with. We've lost contact with this essence, and simply returning to this simplicity of joy is our natural state. It's the way that the divine plan really encodes this, if you like, in our DNA, in our consciousness, but we have to undergo this awakening in order to experience the beauty of living, the joy of living. Now, look, I'm not telling you that this is that simple to achieve. I'm not saying that this is something that I have necessarily mastered myself. But what I'm sharing with you is that is the vision for the paradigm shift. That is the vision for the new paradigm, is to connect with this state of this purity, this beautiful joy, this inner harmony that really is an essence of the new earth, because we all have the potential. It's a matter of attuning our vibration, our frequency at this level. And of course, the overall complete consciousness of the heart is one of the key aspects of the ongoing transformation we're experiencing. What's important is at least that we know the goal. The goal is not really about keeping up to date with geopolitics minute by minute, or to know the latest conspiracy, or to have the inside information on what's going on behind the scenes with the elite. Sure, it's interesting. It's something to keep an overview of, but that is not the goal of human evolution. That is not the real fundamental aspect of the paradigm shift. Paradigm shift is to connect to the higher states of consciousness that we have all been encoded with. This is part of our energetic DNA, if you want to think of it like this. So contemplate this. What can you do to amplify joy in your life? What can you do to connect with a greater degree of the heart? And how can you experience this moment by moment, not waiting for some huge event, for some significant moment? Make every moment significant. Make every moment joyful. That's the road ahead for all of us, including me. It's really something that I've noticed is on the back burner, if you want to think of it like this. But our challenge is to bring it into the front aspect of our consciousness, so we are aligned, so we are integrated, so we are attuned, and we are actually consciously attempting to bring this joy into what we're doing. And it's definitely a process, and it's a process we're all undergoing. So hope you got something out of the video. Give it a thumbs up if you got something to think about, something that you got an aha moment from. Subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. If you're watching this, you are the shift.